Hello, my name is Dustin, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of the inventory management system by Stageforce. If you're familiar with Stageforce, you know that we've been in the inventory business since its inception in 2017. You'll notice, though, that we've added a lot of new features and a lot of new modules to the system, including project management, account management, task, contacts, lead management, the whole thing. And really, it's an all-in-one system. But for this particular video, we're going to talk about inventory only. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. So here I am on the dashboard. You have a couple things that are important: upcoming projects by stage and destage date. You'll notice that we have some that have an asterisk on them. That's because they're estimated, which is a unique feature to staging. And then the other one to really note is the inventory utilization. So how much of my inventory is currently out in the field and how much is back at warehouses or storage areas. And then projects in progress are all about like where are the jobs in the cycle or the life cycle of a stage. This system can do other things besides staging, including consultations and, let's say, short-term rental design jobs, things like that. But again, for this video, we'll talk about inventory specific. Okay, so let's go over to inventory and let's take a look at the catalog. So this is kind of like the default area to go when you want to find an item and get some details on it. You're not necessarily shopping here at this moment, but I want to peruse my inventory. You can see I've got little icons that mean things like it's in a collection. Most likely these two items are grouped together so that you know it has kind of sister or brother relationships with other products. And then you'll notice something like this table down here, which has been flagged as damaged. If I want to see all kind of things grouped together like damaged items, I can hit something in the filter, and now my little repair shop in my warehouse or wherever it be, I can start working on those flagged items. There's a lot of filtering up here, including the most commonly used, which is something like chairs, and then you associate subcategories as well to them. So chairs, and let's just say it's bar stools. And as I go through these bar stools, you can see I've got some that'll most likely have just potentially like one or two. You can see this particular one, this rattan counter height stool has got one available, but something like these acrylic chairs, I'm going to have multiple RFID tags or just tags associated to them. So I've got 4 that I own. So if you understand your inventory, you've got products, and then you have the volume of those products, which is basically in tags. Just to be clear about tags, you don't have to use the physical tags, though we do recommend that. We have a lot of customers who do virtual numbers for these. You can assign essentially any number you want in the system, or you can take a pen and write on the bottom of a chair 241. It's up to you, but I would say 95% or more have tags that are available from the Stageforce store if you visit stageforce.com. So again, I'm here at the product level. You can see I've got images, I've got descriptions. Anything that you type in the description is searchable back at that last screen when you're searching your inventory. I've got my tags here. I've also got categories, so it's the categories I've assigned. You can see that this belongs to multiple categories, and it also, though, has a primary one of adjustable. But you can see because it's adjustable, it can fit in both these other categories as well. And then subcategories, you can add as many subcategories and categories as you would like to find your inventory. Under details, you'll see I've got the dimensions here, which is usually critical for most furniture. And then I've got this grouping of information mainly around prices and dates, purchase price, purchase date, and then this sale price and rental price are based off of this working value. And by default, they are percentages of your working value, but you can adjust those defaults, and you can also do a custom override if you sell something for a given price that you want to record. Down here, it's got its home. So its home is the main warehouse in the stool loft number 1. And that kind of sums up the details section for the product. Next, you have collections. So if this particular stool works best with a table or some other type of furniture that's related to it, you can add it to an existing collection that you've created, or create a new collection that says, I want to start pairing these, let's say, with some kind of leather topped table or sofa or something that matches that gray. Next would be flags. So if this was damaged or dirty, I can come in here, and these issue types that I can assign, I can customize these as much as I'd like, and flag the item. That's what turns it red. And so that you're really aware when you're shopping that maybe you shouldn't pick this item at this moment. And then lastly here, you've got history, and I can see the full history of everywhere that this stool has been used, whether it's a 241 tag or 242 tag. It's got a full description here and history of everywhere it's been and how long it was used for. This will come in handy when calculating the ROI of your items. And then this section over here has got kind of the base. So in this case, I've got 3. I've created them in July of 2016. I've got a SKU number here from Coaster, and you can also put in a URL so that you can quickly click the link and reorder these chairs. Okay, I'm going to jump back over to the main inventory catalog. And one of the other things I'm going to do is view something that, or go through the dashboard. And the dashboard has got reports. So as I mentioned before about all those details you put in, this products report really is a summary of all of your catalog, including the total number of products, tags, the total amount of purchase pricing or that you've spent on these items, the total sale prices, and in the individual lines, you can see I've got those details. What we calculate here is months staged, months active, what percentage of the time is it used, and an ROI. So if you're really looking for some key metrics on the how your inventory is being utilized, this is the right report. If you do want to find, let's say, some inventory, maybe you're doing it's that time of year where you're going to go through the warehouse and look for what is not being used so much. You can simply choose a category and then look for oldest use. I think that's by default oldest use. And so you can see here that this black ottoman hasn't been used since 2019. All these other items are not getting used. 2020, right? This is 2023 right now. So if you have something in your warehouse that hasn't been used for 4 years, probably worth selling or getting rid of one way or another. So this is the products report. I'm going to jump back over into one more report. So if you do sell an item, we have the ability to go into that particular tag and reference that it was sold, put in a purchase price, or maybe it was donated. You've got all of these different reasons why you might want to deactivate a tag, and these remove it from your system, but keep the history of why and how you had this item. Essentially, these tags are retired and you move forward. But it can be really useful if you want to see like all sold items in a given year, month, or from a given location. Okay, last here on this kind of general purpose inventory, you've got a lot of settings. Most of these settings are actually associated to inventory. So you've got the categories and how you create the categories, what the markups are. You've got warehouses, which is the main thing I'm over here to show you, which is you can have multiple warehouses and storage items. You've got warehouse sections for more details within those warehouses of where things are stored. You've got defaults associated to room names and flagging issues. And then collections, as I mentioned, you can have a whole bunch of items that are grouped together, like an outdoor patio set or a mirror collection. And this is where you manage which items are grouped together. People have gone as far as putting like full bedrooms as a collection, even whole houses, but they're really just groupings of any way you'd like. And then lastly here is the set manager. And this is all about items that come in parts. So this queen bed is a good example of something that comes in a total of 4 parts, which would be the headboard, the footboard, and 2 side rails. We happen to have 5 of these beds. So you've got total 20 parts, and you can store them independently, but you can modify how those are grouped by clicking the modify product here. But sets or parts, I should say products with parts, is a big feature within the system. Okay, so with that, I'm going to jump over to projects, and I'm going to look for one that's got kind of a unique feature here. So I'm going to go into Cambridge. And you can see here this default screen. I've got project details, chat, and tasks, which are all part of the project management module. But these next ones are all part of inventory. So move and manage, where I move items back and forth in the staging workflow. Shopping, where I choose the items that are going into the job. Rooms, you set the rooms, add images, add notes, and then reports, which are mainly about either how to give the crew instructions or maybe a report for selling. So this particular house is already in staged. And you can see here that it's got a big yellow bar here that say 9 products are transferring out. So this is a unique feature to Stageforce. If you have 153 items that are currently staged at this property, you have the ability to say, well, these 9 are going over to a different house, not back to the warehouse. Maybe they're part of a new stage. In this case, it's pillows and a table. But it's a very unique feature that if you have enough projects that you're doing in any given week where transferring items between one property to the next is possible or important, it's a great feature to have. Okay, I'm going to go back to another project and start kind of from the beginning of how you would add the inventory to a project. So you can see here, this project has got 24 items already in the shop cart or the shopping bag. So that means that somebody's gone in and started shopping for this property. When I get to the shopping area, it looks very similar to the inventory catalog. It's got a lot of the same filters, and I can go through and I can start adding them to this property. It only shows me typically by default what's available. That means that it's not out at another property. And then I also have the ability to choose a room. So if I'm going to start shopping for the dining room, I'm not going to be looking for beds anymore. Let's go through and look for some chairs, which might already be in here. And as I go through and look through for some dining chairs, you can see I'm just going to simply start adding them by clicking their tag number here in this interface. And in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and grab 6 of them. And as I add them, they're automatically being added to the shopping cart here on the right. And that's because I have the room associated. If I want to choose a living room, then I can start shopping that, reset my filters, and then grab a new category to start searching for. I can also just obviously type in a keyword here like sofa, and it'll start giving me things like sofas, sofa tables, things like that. So I just added this table to the living room for this job. So that's how you choose them. And as I go, the next step would be that now I've got, instead of 24, I have 31 selected products for this stage. This little workflow, it kind of works as a cascading workflow where you go from items that are selected. Then they move into this phase called located for staging, which is really transit to the property. Then they're at the property and staged, transit away from the property, and then they get back to the warehouse or to another property. You can see there's a history here for everything that's happened for this particular project. But if I'm going to go in and I just chose those items and it's stage day and it's time to start loading, I would grab items if I was a crew member. And let me just I've grabbed 3 of the chairs and somebody else grabbed this table. And by default, it says you must probably want to move this to the next phase of the project, which I do, but I also have the ability to go back and forth with other options about where I'm moving them. Once I hit the confirm button, it starts transferring those items directly to the next phase of the property. So you can see now 4 items are listed here and located for staging, which again is transit. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. There's those 4 items. They're now in the next phase. The other way that's possible that you've probably heard about with Stageforce is instead of using the app interface to say that I'm grabbing these and putting them on the truck, you can use our reader, which has both RFID and visual barcode scanning. Both of those are options, and we have a lot of people actually think that you have to use the reader with the Stageforce platform, but you absolutely do not. You can use this interface like I'm doing here on an iPad, your phone, on a laptop, and transfer items the same way with whatever mechanism you'd like. So it's also important to note that see how this is yellow here? That means I have some transferred items that are coming in to this property. This particular one has some pillows coming from another property, and I can click that arrow and it tells me exactly where it's coming from. So these 2 properties I just happen to choose are working together to manage inventory. So once you move all of your selected products into the truck, you can bypass this step altogether if you'd like to just choose items and shop them and then don't record them again until they're in staged. You absolutely can do so. But once they're in staged, that is the point where the project status changes. And then that's really it. That's the simplest form of like moving project or products through the system. And it's really, really nice interface. We get a lot of compliments on the workflow itself. And there's quick reference numbers if you need to jump into something and see details of it, or a larger view when you're picking up that table from the crew side. But let's go ahead and go into the other areas, which are rooms. So here's where I choose what rooms are part of this project. And I simply click something like the entrance and it's added. I can add a ton of images for each room. I could also add images for the entire property and videos in here as well. But that's all room management. You can also make notes on what the instructions are for each room. And then the reporting, these are the 2 most common. I'm going to show you the 2 most common use cases for the reports. One is the crew report, and this can be both, this is non-interactive. This is basically a big PDF, and you can literally print it out, or you can copy the link and send it as a PDF to someone else. Like if you have an outside moving company that you don't want to have access to the system. But these are all instructions. You have options to group by room if they're destaging. You can group by categories if they're grabbing all the large items first, the small items first. You can even say, I only want this particular grouping or part of the workflow. And then there's 2 views. One's a table view where it's kind of more flat lines for each one. And then the other one was the tile view, which I showed you earlier. The other report that's used pretty often and can help generate more revenue for your company is the sales report. So the sales report is great, and I'm going to go ahead and change it. I don't know if there's rooms in this job, but let's see. So the living room has got certain items in it, and your buyers of the home can go through and look at all the items for sale based upon your sale prices in the system. Super useful when trying to sell either a whole home worth of stuff, or they just say, I'm interested in some of these items. Can you give me a summary of what's for sale and how much it would be? So this is the sales report. And again, it's shareable. You can copy this link and immediately share it with the realtor, the seller or the buyer's realtor, and get them the information really quickly to do some sales. All right, well, that concludes the inventory management demo. I highly suggest looking at some of our other videos for details on the other parts of the system, including account management, project management, and everything else that the system has to offer. Also look for additional videos on the details of inventory management. But again, the best practice is to get a personalized demo. All right, thank you so much. This is Dustin with Stageforce. Have a great day.